Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to replace the brake pads on your 2007 4Runner. It should be very easy. I don't think I'm going to have to do the rotors. The brake pads are sticking a little bit, but it's not grinding against the rotors. But we'll take a look, see how bad it is. Okay, let's get started. Okay, we've got the tire off. You can see the caliper. Here's the pads right in here. They should slide right out, hopefully. And there should be some cotter pins on the back of these two pins right here. This one and this one. Back here. Now we'll see if these pins just pull right out. Okay, let's get these pads out. There we go. Now you can see there's a lot of meat left on these pads. I'm pretty sure on the other side these pads are going to be worn down to nothing, maybe even down to the metal, which is why I'm replacing the pads, because they are grabbing quite a bit, and once you get down to the metal you can feel a difference in the way the brakes act. Okay, let's put the new pads in. I might need to push these pistons back just a little bit so that way it's easier for me to get the brake pad in. Boy, these things might be, these might be frozen too. I'm going to wedge that bar in there to try to keep this piston from pushing out, so that way all the pressure is going to be pushing this piston out. We'll see if that's going to be enough to unfreeze it. Otherwise I'm going to have to put the old brake pads back in and replace this caliper. Alright, let's give it a go. Looks like it moved. Looks like that worked. Maybe not. I'd say that definitely moved. Let's see if we can get it to push back in though. Okay, well, nothing I do is going to unfreeze this piston today, so I'm just going to have to put the old brake pads back in this side. They're really not that bad. I mean, they're probably maybe about 3/4 of a thickness from new. So I'll put these back in. Oh, and as an extra special bonus, I noticed that my CV axle boot here, I don't know if you can see it, I noticed my CV boot is leaking grease all over the place. So I'm gonna have to replace that sometime soon. Maybe I'll just do everything at the same time. I mean, 3 pistons here on this caliper are working, but I don't know, I'll figure it out. But I'm gonna patch this up. I'm gonna check out the other side, because the other side is the pads that really need to be done. Those are the ones that I think are really worn down to nothing. So I'll put everything back together here, and then I'll open up the other side, see what kind of disasters await me over there. Okay, let's get started on the other side. This side should be fairly straightforward. I replaced the caliper on this side probably about 3 months ago, so there should be nothing frozen up. Best case scenario, this is how the other side should have went, but you know, you run into certain problems here and there. Okay, so obviously it should be the same thing. Just remove these cotter pins out. Slide these pins out. Spring clip out. Take these pads out. What I'm doing here is just applying gentle pressure to the piston, to the brake piston, to push it back in. You can feel it moving. That's going to make it easier to slide these pads in. This is the way it should go if everything is working well. Do the same thing on this side. Gentle pressure. It's going to seat these pistons. Slide this one in. Put the pins back through. Put a pin through the pin. Put this spring clip back in. Okay, and that's how it should go if everything was working well. One thing I forgot to mention in the video is after you're done installing your brake pads, you don't want to hop in the car and just drive away. You're going to want to get in, pump the brakes a few times, so that way it tightens up the calipers against the rotor and your brakes aren't really feeling mushy. So if you get in your car and you push down the brakes, it feels mushy, keep pumping them until they start feeling firm. For the most part, that's how you go about changing the brake pads on a Generation 4 4Runner. I wish I was able to complete the job for the video, but you know, sometimes you get in there, you find things are wrong, you aren't able to do what you originally intended to do. So once the CV axle goes, I'm going to go ahead and replace the brake caliper with it. I think the CV axle probably will go before the brake caliper does. There's 3 pistons still working on the caliper. I took it for a test drive and the brakes work very well. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that way you can see the CV axle replacement when I get around to doing that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if this video helped you out at all.